Hi, do you have a problem saying the sounds t and d? You can say them, but they just don't seem to sound quite right. Well, today I'm going to help you. So by the end of this lesson, you're going to know everything about these two sounds and how to pronounce them properly. And I'll show you how to say them when they're at the beginning, middle, and ends of words. Oh, and I'll show you how they change with different spellings. And if you stay with me, you'll find out how native speakers use the glottal stop and the flap or tap instead of using the t sound. So come on, let's get started. So why do we always put t and d together on the phonemic chart? Well, the reason is they're a pair of consonants where the only difference is that the first sound of this pair, t, is unvoiced and strong, and the second sound, d, is voiced and weak. So if a sound is voiced, it requires your vocal cords to work. And when this happens, you feel them vibrate here. So if it's unvoiced, you don't feel a vibration here at all. Try this with me. T, d, t, d, t. Nothing? D? You can feel it. Good. Keep going, switching the voice on and off. T, d, t, d. Got that? Good. Well, that's the first bit done. Now, what do I mean by strong and weak? Well, this means that consonants can be pronounced with weaker or stronger breath force. So far, we've learnt that t is unvoiced. Now, because it's unvoiced, it needs stronger breath force. Why? To compensate for the lack of voice. So d, which is voiced, yes, you got it, it needs less breath force because it's voiced. Now, let's do the paper trick. If you have a piece of paper handy, you can do this too. If not, just put your palm close to your lips. So, this is the piece of paper, okay? Don't forget, put your palm here if you want to. So, take your paper. T, d, t, d. Notice how the breath force is stronger for t than for d. Now, these two consonants are called plosive consonants, just like all the other sounds on this line in the phonemic chart. P, b, ch, j, k, g. So what does plosive mean? And how do you do it? Well, just before you make a plosive sound, there is a build-up of air followed by a small explosion as the air and consonant sound is released. Hence the word plosive. To make this small explosion for t and d, you need to block the air using your tongue. So now I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you exactly where in the mouth we block the air and how we block the air using your tongue. Ready? Say the words to and do. Where is your tongue? Well, it should be touching the bony ridge just behind your front teeth. There. Have a look at this diagram. Now, do not touch your teeth with your tongue, okay? It's just behind them. Now, this point is very important. You must touch this part of your mouth with the blade of your tongue here. Not here. That's the tip, okay? I want it with the blade of the tongue. Okay? Now, this blade of your tongue must be just behind the top front teeth. Remember, Do not touch the back of those front teeth, okay? But the tongue should be very close to the teeth without touching. Of course, if your front teeth are missing, then there's no problem. But for those of us who still have our front teeth, no touching. Now, what are the sides of your tongue doing? Well, the sides of your tongue should be lightly pressing against the sides of your upper teeth. Here. Got that? Now keep this position, and now for the D sound, release the air using your voice. Say D. D. Now do it again for T, but release the air with more force and with no voice. T. T. So the full name for the T sound is unvoiced alveolar plosive, and the D sound is called voiced alveolar plosive. Now for some practice, where the sounds are at the beginning of words. Remember, T needs more air force than D. To, do. 10, den. Tune, dune. Torn, dawn. Town, down. Now, when T or T is at the end of a word, it shortens the vowel sound before it, while D is very weak and makes very little noise, but lengthens the vowel sound before it. Try these. Bet, bed, set, said, heart, hard, brought, broad. Did you notice? Now let's look at these sounds on the next line down on the phonemic chart here. All these are called fricatives, meaning that the air is partially blocked. Now, the diagram shows them in the unvoiced and voiced pairs. Past tense ed endings of words that have a final fricative sound like this with a final t sound. You'll see what I mean. Laughed, lived, birthed, breathed, clothed, missed, buzzed, wished. The past tense ed ending of words with a final t sound like this with an id sound. Started, parted, sorted, scented, flirted. When t is in the middle of words, the air force is less. Make it gentle and short, like this. Writer, later. When d is in the middle, it is voiced, but make it very gentle and short. Like this. Middle, not middle. Fiddle. Now compare the two sounds. Writer, rider, later, ladder, wetting, wedding, pushing, pudding. Okay, so you may have heard some English speakers pronouncing words like this, especially if they have an American or Australian accent, when the t is in the middle of the word, like this. Better, butter. Well, it's not wrong. I'll show you how to do it. Just tap the top of your mouth very quickly with your tongue, in the same place as for t and d, but do it very quickly. The sound is in between a d and a t sound. Now say, that's better. That's better. That's my butter. Well, that's a bit American. That's better. That's a very common one for us native speakers to use. Oh, that's better. Then, of course, there's the glottal stop. In phonemic script, it looks like this. It's often used in fast speech, but it's not considered an important sound, as it can't change the meaning of a word. The glottal stop is a plosive, produced by a complete block of the airstream at the back of the throat, then suddenly released. There are several uses for this, but as we're looking at the t sound, I will just show you how it replaces this sound. Look at the word what. Instead of pronouncing the t sound, the air is blocked after saying what, and sounds like this. What? What? You try it. What? Or in the middle of a word like this. The word bottle sounds like this. Bottle. Bottle. It's not important for you to use it. Just know that it occurs, especially when you're listening to native speakers. And if you found this video useful, please hit the like button, as it really does help me. Until next time, love and peace.